question here with Judge Brooks Smith case. What person with a brain in their head is going to believe some little white boy that has a little job in the little government in North America that's not even 500 million people? Who's going to believe such a little white boy? John Husak said that Assistant Attorney McLean. Now, they're going to use neuroscientists, and I've said this 1,000 times, force them out of their movement, jerk my head, jerk my neck, everybody knows it, cause information in the legs, cause a medical malpractice book to be wrote, and Dr. Fye is the star of the book, out of Steubenville, Ohio, go to Reno, big red kids. The children, they already know that the government is what they are and what they do. So the children already know. They know your plots, they know your scams, they know your schemes. I'm talking about kids that are under 35 years of age. Not kids that are over 45 years of age, because they know your plots and your scams. So you've discredited yourself so bad by pulling your stunts on the Honorable Judge Brooks Smith, Psalms 110:7 Brook, and FBI Walter Weiner with Janita Blanton, who he hired at the University of Pittsburgh, that now you can rape her or murder her and then that'll stop her from telling you the truth or what she thinks of you, because she's not going to turn on PITT for no white boy. That's why Attorney John Husak said we won't call her in the court, because they will rape her and they will murder her if she comes testify, because that's what they are. And FBI Walter Weiner said the same thing. He said you can't trust those white boys because they want to be something that they're not. They want to try to be a world leader. They're nothing but common people who took a job. They're no more than the state police or no more than the local police, but they just have another type of job in another category that they practice and do different things. Just like a jockey riding a horse. He's not a basketball player because he's too short to jump at center to do the center jump ball. So it's just the way things fit into other particular issues or subjects. But you can't tell an incompetent layman white boy that work for the U.S. government that he's just a little white boy that took a little job and he get a little bit of money and he get a taxpayer from a little bit of people, and there's not 1 billion people in North America, and nor will they never be, because they can't handle it, because the structure here is not formed like that. And what you stole, it wasn't established to do that. It was just established to be a settlement for people to come over here and eat and practice religion at their own outlook. That's why you have the First Amendment, and that's why you have freedom of speech. Now, when the white boy try to take the freedom of speech, that's another subject. Now they have the right to bear arms. That is to protect the residents against the government, not to protect the government against the resident, because the government is not trying to take over the residents. The government is trying to be the residents, but the residents might try to take over the government and vice versa. But whichever way it goes, if the government is not going to take over the resident won't take over the government. But the residents know that the government might try to take over them, and that's how it goes. It's a fourfold issue. So if you don't know the complication of it, that's why George Washington put it in the Second Amendment, so that the people can stop the white boys in the government from overthrowing it. Now, the white people in North America know that the government, they're pulling the scam and they get neuroscience. They're not going for them to defraud those white boys at the University of Pittsburgh, that Greg Mines and that Dr. Rob Feder, Dr. Wayne D. Bartola. Now, when I met Greg in the locker room at Pitt, and some of the white guys hit him over the head with a bat, it wasn't funny. I was like, well, let me go get Pazzulli and Moss and J.C. Pelusi. We'll stop all this nonsense. They're trying to play tough, trying to be tough. And I didn't want to go get Huber and Ricky Johnson because they from Africa. That's their native land. They're not Italians, and they're not what you call Caucasians. So if they go in the bar, they're going to be noticed real easy. But these other white guys, they go in the bar, they won't be noticed until they get their ass lit up. So when you want to get lit up, mess with a boy from Pitt and they'll light you up. So what I'm saying to you little white boys, you cannot, under no circumstances, try to set up no University of Pittsburgh law expert like me, because all you're doing is dust in the wind. All you are is dust in the wind. Because to me, you're just stupid. I know that you're not angelic. I know you don't have the intelligence. I know that you're poor. I know you'll never make $100 billion a year because you don't have the intelligence to do so. So why don't you just go sit your little simple ass down? Because Judge Brooks Smith already met me. When he seen me come in the courtroom, he smiled. See, he didn't know that I was a courtroom monitor and I do courtroom gestures. Expert. Can read you to what color socks you have on. So when you're dealing with somebody like me, you have to be very careful of how you address it. See those 3 tires right there? That's how it is at Pitt. They have 3 tires too, but those are dormitories, but those are not no dormitory. You understand me, little white boy? You can't do nothing with no international law expert, little white boy, because you don't even know Sharia law, Judean law. You can't even spell Sharia Judean law. If you try to, they cut your head off because they know that you're committing fraud. See, subordination to perjury in my country, in Africa, and Islam, and Asia, you ain't going to walk away telling me, I'm a white boy, you got to let me go, let's make a deal. Your ass is going to prison for life, or they're going to cut your head off under Sharia law.